Hello students. So we are going to discuss about this lesson enhancement of food production, and I'm not going to prepare the PowerPoint presentation for this lesson because as far as the weightage is concerned, the enhancement of food production carries only 3 marks. So it's not that much important, only multiple choice questions or very short answer questions can be asked on this topic. Okay, so let's begin with this enhancement of food production. So man is almost absolutely dependent on plants for his food. So as we all know, we depend completely on plants for food. So the things he man eats virtually without exception are either plant materials such as food grains, pulses, vegetables, etc., or derived from the other, for example, like meats, eggs, and dairy products, etc. So the plants are also the major source, directly or indirectly, of most of us, and they are also very important as far as clothing, fuel, drugs, and construction materials are concerned. So, considering the prime importance of plants, men have long been concerned with developing types of plants better suited to satisfy their needs. So, plant breeding as a technology has helped in bringing about green revolution in India to fulfill the national requirement of food production. The advanced plant breeding methods involve the use of genetics. Plant breeding methods, they involve molecular biology, and advanced breeding methods, they also involve tissue culture techniques for developing plants with desired traits. So that is about how the human being, they are connected with the plants. Okay, so what is improvement in food production? So food is one of the basic needs, as it gives us energy for everything, it keeps us alive, strong, and healthy. It can be defined as anything solid or liquid which, when swallowed, digested, and assimilated in the body, keeping us well. So, you have studied this swallowed, digested, and assimilation of body. You have studied this part in your 11th standard, if you remember that part. Do you remember that when we have studied about human digestion system and all? Okay, so in that we have studied this part. Okay, so it is organic, energy rich, and non poisonous and edible, nourishing substance. So it is non poisonous, energy rich, and it is organic in nature, and it nourishes our body. So, green plants, they synthesize their own food through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which the plants, they are able to produce their own food. But animals, including humans, cannot synthesize their food on their own. Hence, they are dependent on plants directly or indirectly. So, the famine is responsible for dearth of food besides the rapid and dramatic increase in the world population over time. What do you mean by famine? It is the extreme scarcity of food. When there is extreme shortage of food, then that condition is called as famine, and that is responsible for dearth of food. Dearth means shortage of food. It causes shortage of food. Okay. So besides the rapid and dramatic increase in the world population over the time, to meet the increasing demand of food, there is need for improvement of food production, both quantity wise and quality wise. So why plant breeding is important now? Because as we all know, population is increasing. Okay, human population is continuously increasing, but the land or the soil, it is just the same. Okay, so the area or the land area, it is constant, but there is increase in the population. So what we need, we need the improvement of food production. Now what do you mean by that? Because of the improvement, what will happen, why it is important? Because if we are able to improve the food production, then, and when you're talking about this improvement, that improvement should be in both the cases. It should be quantity wise and quality wise. That food, the number and the quality, the quantity and the quantity as well as quality of the food is, it should, both factors are very important when you are talking about improvement of food production. Okay, so plant breeding and animal breeding help us to increase the food production. So these both the techniques, plant breeding as well as animal breeding. So as we are going to talk about only, or we are going to discuss about the food enhancement, so first we will try to discuss or concentrate on the plant part. So what is plant breeding now? The improvement or purposeful manipulation in the heredity of crops and the production of new superior varieties of existing crops or plants constitute what is called plant breeding. So what exactly plant breeding means? In the plant breeding, what we do, we manipulate the characters of what? Characters of the crop, characters on the basis of the heredity. Okay, so that heredity word is very important. So we take into consideration the hereditary characters of the crops, and also we talk about or we concentrate on the new superior varieties. So the hereditary characters as well as the superior characters of the plants are very important if you are talking about plant breeding methods. Okay, so this definition is important. This definition can be asked for 2 marks. It is therefore an applied branch of botany. It is, in fact, an art and the science of changing and improving the variety or heredity of the plants. So, in plant breeding, what we do, we change and we improve. What we improve? The heredity of the plants. In the heredity, what we talk about the characters, hereditary characters. That means the genes of the plant. Genes. Okay. So plant breeding can be carried out by using the applications of principles of genetics. Now, this plant breeding which we are discussing now, there are a number of applications. Okay. And this can be done by using principles of genetics, taxonomy, pathology, and agriculture, rDNA technology. Now, this rDNA, R stands for recombinant DNA technology. So, all these methodologies, they are used for doing a plant breeding method. Now, plant breeding is a method of altering the genetic pattern of plants. Now, this is very important. What do you mean by altering? Means we change. What we change? We change the genetic pattern of plants. We change the genetic pattern of plants. Now, why it is required? As we have discussed that we want to increase the yield of the plant. Okay, for that we have to alter or we have to change the genetic pattern of the plant, which is essential. This is our basic need when you talk about the plant breeding methodology. So by doing that, what we get we obtain the increase in their value and utility for human welfare. So we can use it for our welfare. The plant breeding is done to increase crop yield. Now, why it is essential? Because it gives us crop yield, increase crop yield, improve quality, increase tolerance to environmental stresses, and make the plants resistant to pathogen, and increase in the tolerance to insect pests. So this is very important. So plant breeding is important because it gives us increased crop yield, improve quality, increase tolerance to environmental stresses, and make the plants resistant to pathogens and increase the tolerance of the insect pest. So this all can be achieved by using this plant breeding methodology or technique. Now, Green Revolution was the result of a sequence of scientific breakthroughs and developmental activities that successfully fought hunger by increasing food production. So, Green Revolution, as far as is concerned, it's very important as we talk about it, as we are talking about if we consider it in India. So it's very important. Okay, seeds with the superior quality, use of chemicals or pesticides and fertilizers, and multiple cropping systems supported by the use of modern farm machinery and proper irrigation system helped for the development of high yielding and disease resistant varieties in wheat, rice, maize, etc. So what we talk about as far as green revolution is concerned, what we talk about there, seeds with the superior quality, use of chemicals, pesticides and fertilizers, multiple cropping systems supported by the use of modern farm machinery, proper irrigation system. So all this, and not only this but the high yielding and disease resistant varieties, and these disease resistant varieties, they are mainly we are talking about in case of these three. So these we are going to discuss these three. The names of these three varieties can be asked. They were asked in the recent 12th board exam, which are the wheat varieties, rice and maize. All the names you have to remember. Okay, so such type of questions, 1 or 2 marks can be asked in the from this lesson. In fact, plant breeding dates back to about 10,000 years ago. How? The present day crops are the result of domestication, means cultivation of the plants for food. Domestication means when we cultivate the plants for food. And acclimatization. What do you mean by acclimatization now? Acclimatization means adaptation. So it is a natural process. Okay, so here we are talking about the plant breeding method, which is a natural method. Okay, so let's move to this part, hybridization and its technique. Now, what is hybridization? It is the chief method that offers greater possibilities in the crop improvement than other methods. So I in the hybridization, what we are talking about, this is the chief method. This is important method which gives greater possibilities in the crop improvement. Okay, so that's why going to other methods, this hybridization technique is used. The use of this method is the only effective means of combining together the desirable characters of two or more varieties. So this is a very effective method. By this hybridization technique, we can combine together the desirable characters of more or two varieties. So that's why it is very important. By this method, one can create new genetic combinations of already existing characters and new genetic variations. So if we talk about this hybridization, what we can achieve by this, one can create new genetic combination. So we can achieve a new genetic combination as we are combining the two different varieties. So new genetic combinations uh, can be achieved, or we can get new genetic variations. So the new genetic variations can be achieved by using this method. It also exploits and utilizes hybrid vigor. Now, what is This is a new terminology, so it can be asked. Okay, this you have to remember. What is hybrid vigor? Hybrid vigor means it is the tendency of a crossbred individual to show qualities superior to those both of the parents. So hybrid vigor is more superior than the parental plants. Hybridization can be intravarietal. Intra means in between. Okay, between the two varieties. Intervarietal. Now, intervarietal, there is a difference between intra and inter. Okay, between two varieties of the same species. Intravarietal, when you talk about one college competition, the competitions which are if you consider the competitions of the St. Peter College. So that is intravarietal. Intervarietal, inter-college. Between any X, for example, any X college and St. Peter's College. So that is intervarietal, between the two different colleges or between two different varieties of the same species. Here we are talking about the same. What is same between these two? That college. Colleges, that is a species, and two varieties, two different colleges. So that is the difference between intravarietal and intervarietal. Now, what is interspecific? Between two species of the same genus. Okay, now this again is very important term. So interspecific, here we talk about two different species, but the genus is same. And what is intergeneric? Between two genera of the same family. As parental plants are distantly related, such crosses are also called as wide distant crosses. So this is again very important term if you want to uh, this can be asked. Okay, interspecific and intergeneric hybrids are seldom to occur in the nature, so they are rarely found, they are not common. Okay, interspecific or intergeneric hybrids. The main steps of a plant breeding program: hybridization. So there are a number of methods: collection of variety, evaluation and selection of parents, hybridization, selection and testing of superior recombinants, testing and release and commercialization of new cultivars. So all these five steps are involved in the hybridization technique, but we are going to discuss all these steps in tomorrow's lecture. So keep studying, keep preparing notes, and stay safe, stay home. So that's all for today's session. Thank you.